The man immortalized in history as Scipio Africanus the Elder was born in 235 BC in Liternum, Campania, Italy. Scipio Africanus Major received his epithet due to his military victories in Africa, which won the Second Punic War for Rome against Carthage. He is also known as Scipio the Elder. He was born Publius Cornelius Scipio, and his family was of Etruscan descent and the patrician upper class. His father, also Publius Cornelius Scipio, was a Roman consul, and in 218 BC brought his son along with him on a campaign to face the great Carthaginian general Hannibal in northern Italy. Although ancient writers have reported that, in his later years, Scipio wrote an autobiography and many other works, these have been lost, and all that we know of his life are the details of his military victories and his actions as a statesman. At the Battle of the Ticinus River, Hannibal's troops so outmaneuvered the Roman forces that his father was surrounded. His son rode into the battle, shaming the Roman troops who were hesitating, and rescued his father. At the Battle of Cannae in 216 BC, a disastrous defeat for the Romans, Scipio experienced firsthand the brilliance of Hannibal's tactics as the Carthaginian army surrounded and decimated over 44,000 Roman troops. Believing that Hannibal could not be defeated by traditional arts of war, Scipio's father thought it the best strategy to cut off Hannibal's supply line from Spain. He therefore took his son and joined with his brother, Gnaeus Scipio, who was fighting Hannibal's brother, Hasdrubal Barca, at the border of the Spanish territories of Rome and Carthage. Both Scipio's father and Gnaeus were killed in action at the battles of Baetis Valley, also known as the Battle of the Upper Baetis, and Scipio returned to Rome. The Carthaginians under Hasdrubal now held Spain without contest, and the Roman Senate could not tolerate such a situation. Hannibal had started the Second Punic War through his attack on the city of Saguntum, a Roman ally, situated south of the Ebro River in Spain, and now it seemed his brother was free to do as he pleased throughout the region, while Hannibal crossed the Alps to invade Italy. The Senate needed a general of considerable ability to send against Hasdrubal, but no one wanted the job as the campaign seemed to be a death sentence. Though only 24 years old, thought too young to command, Scipio volunteered for the position and left Rome with 10,000 infantry and 1,000 cavalry to meet Hasdrubal's forces numbering over 40,000 strong. Scipio landed in Spain at the mouth of the Ebro River and immediately took action. He marched toward Carthago Nova and lay siege to the city, which was thought impregnable, owing to the strong fortifications and also the natural defense of a lagoon which prevented attack from one whole side of the city's walls. Through intelligence reports picked up during his march, Scipio learned that the lagoon was subject to a significant drop in level owing to the ebb of the tide. The water level in this marsh would have been regulated by channels that allowed water to flow in and out of the marsh, and so Scipio, not relying on the whims of the tide, simply drained the marsh to allow his troops to cross it. He would have counted on the city's defenders to be distracted by his attack on the front gate, and also neglected to guard the walls overlooking the marsh, in the belief that no attack could come from that direction. Scipio sent a column of 500 soldiers across the shallow waters that breached the walls and captured the city. Presented with a beautiful wife as a prize of war by his troops, Scipio graciously refused her and returned her betrothed along with the ransom money her family had paid for her release. He would continue to maintain this practice of mercy and kindness throughout his campaigns, portraying himself and Rome as liberators rather than conquerors. At the Battle of Baecula, in 208 BC, Scipio defeated Hasdrubal's superior forces and drove him from the field using tactics he had learned from Hannibal. Hasdrubal left Spain and crossed the Alps to join his brother in Italy and end the war by taking Rome. Before he could join his forces with Hannibal, however, was defeated by a Roman army under the brilliant command of Gaius Claudius Nero at the Metaurus River in 207 BC. Hasdrubal was killed in action and his forces scattered. Spain was now a colony of Rome. Scipio then asked the Roman Senate for supplies and an army to march on Carthage itself, believing rightly that if Carthage was threatened, then Hannibal would withdraw from Italy to defend it. The Roman Senate rejected the request, and so Scipio raised an army himself. People admired Scipio not only because he was handsome and eloquent, intelligent and brave, but also pious, kind and just. Scipio then threatened the Roman Senate with an appeal to the Roman people for the support of his campaign, and they, fearing his popularity, gave him command of Sicily. Using Sicily as his base of operations, Scipio conquered North Africa in 205 BC. Allied with the Numidian king Massinissa, Scipio defeated the Carthaginian ally Syphax and took the city of Utica. As he had expected, Carthage pulled Hannibal out of Italy to save the city. At the Battle of Zama in 202 BC, 50 miles south of Carthage, Scipio defeated Hannibal. It was the only battle Hannibal lost since assuming command of the Carthaginian forces, but it was a pivotal loss. Scipio had long been learning from Hannibal's tactics and knew them well. When Hannibal sent his elephants charging against the Roman lines, Scipio revealed that he had formed them in columns, allowing the elephants to pass harmlessly through the alleys opened by his ranks. Further, he had his musicians sound their horns loudly and bang on drums, which so startled the elephants that many of them panicked and turned back to trample Hannibal's troops. The cavalry forces of Massinissa and Scipio's old friend and general Gaius Laelius then fell upon the Carthaginian cavalry, driving them from the field and back beyond the Carthaginian lines. Scipio then advanced his forces, broke Hannibal's front line, and at the same time the cavalry of Laelius and Massinissa returned to fall upon the Carthaginian rear. Around 20,000 Carthaginian forces were killed as opposed to 1,500 Romans. Hannibal fled back to Carthage and urged surrender, thus ending the Second Punic War. In adapting Hannibal's tactics and using his strategies against him, Scipio changed the way Roman forces would fight from Zama onwards. Scipio Africanus is remembered, along with Alexander the Great, Hannibal and Julius Caesar, as one of the greatest military minds of the ancient world. He never lost a single engagement while the army was under his command and behaved chivalrously toward those whom he defeated. In negotiating the peace with Carthage, he left her those holdings she had in Africa, pardoned Hannibal, and let the city keep 10 warships to protect her trade in the Mediterranean region. In doing so, he followed the policy that he had initiated in Spain of defeating hostile forces and then initiating healing through clemency. Scipio believed that he was favored by the gods and that he should return that favor by living an impressive life. The record of history shows that he more than succeeded in doing so and left a lasting name as a great general and an honorable man.